This week we cross back over into southern Spain to continue our van life adventure through Europe.
We visit some stunning places, amazing scenery, and get to enjoy the winter sun on the Spanish coast.
So, let's get straight into the video. We made it to Spain! Woo! We're glad this morning to be crossing back over the border into southern Spain. And the first stop on our Spanish adventure takes us to a rather unique little town called El Rocio. We're about an hour's drive away from the town, so let's show you just how unique this place is. We've arrived in El Rocio. I can already tell this place is going to be like stepping back in time because the drive into the town, there's no rules, no road markings, no road laws, nothing. So let's go check this place out. El Rocio sits on the edge of Parque Nacional de Doñana, which is rich in wildlife and is reason enough to visit the area to take in its beauty and spot some of the native flamingos. The town itself gives you a feeling of the Wild West, with wide sandy streets lined with houses complete with verandas and rails for tying up horses. The people of El Rocio will often choose a horse as their preferred mode of transport, and when walking the streets we could definitely see this is still the case today. The town is visited by a steady flow of tourists year-round, thanks to its unusual aesthetic. However, it's famous for its annual Romeria, the Rocio pilgrimage, which attracts over 900,000 people, leading to the streets of El Rocio being flooded with people, music and celebration. So we left El Rocio and came about 20 minutes up the road just outside of Sevilla to a free motorhome area, which we're so glad to finally be able to use again now that we're back in Spain. Now this wouldn't be a couple with a camper travel video without at least one of us taking a bucket shower. So let's go. All clean, we'll catch you tomorrow.
The next day was a chore day, so we filled the van and then treated our tiny home on wheels to a well-needed wash after over 2,000 miles on the road. It was then time to hit the road again in search of the coast, this time stopping just outside of Cadiz to relax for the afternoon. We strolled along the beach, relaxed in the sun and cooked up some tasty food to end this sunny day in Spain. The next day we drove closer to our next destination, stopping for the evening in a small town which proved very popular with kite surfers.
Good morning. It's been quite a few days since we last picked you up. We've taken the last couple of days basically just to switch off and relax, and the weather's not been great, so we haven't really been going out and doing much.
So we've crossed over into our fourth country of the trip, which is Gibraltar.
So basically we're back home.
Well, there is a Morrison, so technically.
We have parked in a Morrison's car park. When we were driving through, all the traffic lights were British, all the road signs were British, even the border control guys had British accents, so it's basically like being back home. So, being as we're here, we're going to go and check Gibraltar out, have a little walk around, and then come back and head into the Morrisons. We were both just saying there's so many British shops here, British pubs, and we both said something that makes us typical British tourists.
Shame there's not the Wetherspoons.
We would love to see a Wetherspoons here. Well, we've had a little walk around the city and now we're back at the van, so now let's head into Morrison's. Are you excited? Simple things, please simple minds.
We only went in for some beans.
Well, good evening everyone. We've had quite an interesting afternoon. We've driven for the last couple of hours basically, and now we're deep into the Spanish mountain range. So the park that we were at earlier, although it was very, very nice, it just wasn't giving us the best vibes and it didn't feel very safe. And you know Rosie's saying,
if you don't feel good in a place, don't stay in a place.
So we decided to head on, and we had a park up which was about 40 minutes away from where we were on the coast near Gibraltar. And when we arrived there, it was completely full.
Jam-packed.
Couldn't park anywhere. So we jumped on Park for Night and found another motorhome area.
We had to find a motorhome area because we're desperate to empty our toilets.
Yeah, if you're not new to van life, you'll know the struggles of constantly having to find somewhere to either empty your toilet or fill up on water. So an extra 2 hours and we finally arrived in a really, really nice park up for the evening.
We're actually very surprised that the park ups that we have been to are like jam-packed, because the roads coming to these park ups are really like steep and narrow. But luckily there was a little space for us, so we squeezed in, little dory. Now let's get the drone up and show you some of these amazing views. Good morning, we've left our campsite from last night and we're currently heading to Rhondda.
Rhondda, as if we're in Wales. It's pronounced Rhondda. Or Rhondda. Rhondda. We've come to one of the miradors in the Spanish mountains. Try and pronounce that, Rosie. There's a sign behind us with the name of it on.
Mirador de Atajate.
We woke up this morning in basically a big cloud and it was misty and kind of wet. But as soon as we started driving, pretty much, we came above the clouds and now it's beaming sunshine again. So we're heading into Rhondda today. We found a campsite that's 20 minutes walk away from Rhondda, so we can finally, for the first time this week, grab a shower. So we'll jump back in the van, head to the campsite, and we'll pick you up when we get to Rhondda.
Let's go.
We drove through the Spanish mountains and arrived at our campsite in the beaming sunshine. We got settled and headed out to explore Rhondda on foot. Rhondda is a picturesque mountain-top city in Spain's Malaga province that sits above the El Tajo Gorge, which separates the new town from the old. With its stunning architecture, charming atmosphere and scenic views, it's easy to see why so many thousands of people choose to visit each year, with the majority of tourists coming to admire the gorgeous stone bridge that connects the two parts of the city. If you weren't sure about visiting Rhondda when you're in Spain, let's show you this to convince you. We spent the afternoon walking the streets and taking in its charm. However, we could easily recommend a long weekend here to fully experience everything Rhondda has to offer. There's plenty of things to do, places to see and traditional bars and restaurants to indulge in. Rhondda is certainly a place in Spain that you have to see for yourself. After a long walk back to the campsite, we dropped into the bar to cool off before it was time to have a long, well-needed shower. So we've just come back from Rhondda. What a place, eh?
Amazing, absolutely stunning.
Absolutely stunning. You've got to visit it yourself. What a place. So we thought a good activity for this evening would be to cut my hair. Have you got any previous experience with cutting hair, Rosie?
I used to groom dogs pretty well, so...
That's good enough for me. It's because I'm a cheapskate and I don't want to pay a barber. We'll see how this goes. If it's terrible, I'll have to go to a barber.
Lego.
So this is where we're at the moment. So now she's going to wet it down and try and make this look better.
Oh.
Okay, it's done. Are you ready? I think you did an amazing job.
I'll do.
Well, considering you're not a hairdresser, Rosie, I think it looks pretty good. So now I've had my haircut, it's your turn. Good morning. We decided today that we were missing the coast too much, so we drove down from our campsite near Ronda and headed back for the coast just after Marbella. I'm on the way to a pharmacy to see if they've got a cream which I stupidly left at home. You may have noticed in some of the shots I've got a bit of psoriasis and that needs sorting out. And then I think we're planning a little afternoon on the beach and I'm finally gonna get in the sea. Right, I think it's time to get in the sea. Let's go!
After a lazy afternoon on the beach, Lola took a well-needed nap while we freshened up and sat on a beachfront bar, enjoying some delicious sangria while watching a beautiful sunset here on the Spanish south coast before calling it a night.
The next few days were spent mostly away from our camera, taking time to catch up with friends old and new, at a great beachfront park up just east of Malaga. We just got to this amazing park up for the evening and met up with some friends. So let's have our weekly wash. Full-time travel at times can feel quite rushed, so we took today to slow down, swim, laugh and enjoy the company of like-minded people on similar journeys to ourselves. The next day the heavens opened, meaning we spent most of our time in the van. We did, however, take the opportunity to stock up on some supplies, as the next day we'd be heading into the mountains. Good morning, folks.
Hello.
Apologies that we have not picked you up in a few days, and apologies if we're out of breath. We're currently walking up a load of stairs. For the last couple of days we've basically been relaxing on a beach park up with some friends. Sorry, I had to stop that because walking up those steps and trying to film was not the best idea. Today is a very special day and one which we've been excited for a while. We've come to a town called Campervan, which is where this one spent a lot of her childhood. Believe it or not, she hasn't been back for the better part of 15 years. So it's going to be a bit of a nostalgia trip for you. Yeah. So, let's show you a much less touristy and unexplored part of the Spanish mountains. We left Campervan and headed 5 minutes down the road to finally get to see where Rosie grew up. Because this place is kind of not somewhere that you'd go as a tourist, and obviously we've got a UK number plate, every single person that we've passed on the side of the road, obviously the locals, are all waving at the van and making us feel at home. So being as we're here, let's give you a look at the place where Rosie grew up. So there we go, that is a brief look around where Rosie grew up. Surreal experience?
Weird. The house that we used to live in looks completely different. Still like an abandoned little village, which it was when I was growing up. But yeah, a bit, I don't know, weird.
She hasn't been back here in 15 years.
And we actually drove straight past the house when we when we first arrived. So obviously that shows how much has changed.
Yeah, definitely. I think we're going to head back down to the coast and then continue our journey up the southeast coast of Spain. Who knows where we're going to get to tonight, but we'll pick you up when we get to our park up for the evening. Well, we've made it to our park up for the evening. It's not a bad one, is it, Rosie?
No, it's nice. It's really nice.
Between going to where we were earlier, Rosie's hometown, to here, we stopped in a laundrette. How much was that?
€9 for a 20kg wash, €5 for a 37-minute dry, and to be fair, it's dried absolutely everything. Just really good.
It's not the cheapest we've had on this trip, but it's definitely the best.
Yeah, it's definitely the best because everything did dry, and normally when you put it through a 30-minute dry cycle, it doesn't dry. We've
been using quite a lot of the laundry services on campsites we've stayed in, and this is the first time we've used an actual laundrette, and I think in future when we have to do laundry, we're just going to go straight to a laundrette. Maybe more expensive, but it's a better wash and a better dry. So yeah, we got that done, and we managed to do a hell of a lot of laundry, so this should see us through the next couple of weeks now. How often are we doing laundry? Every 2 or 3 weeks?
Yeah, every 2.5 weeks.
Yeah, depending on the weather and stuff.
Depending on how long it takes for us to run out of pants.
So I think that's us for the day. We're just gonna chill here. I got some editing to do because it's Saturday, and obviously Sunday's our upload day, so that needs to go up tomorrow. Have some food,
call it a night,
and hit the sack. So I'll pick you up tomorrow.
The next day we hit the road again to head to another amazing park up right on the coast before going out on a dog walk to check out our surroundings.
I always wear the most appropriate footwear.
What do you reckon, Rosie? Shall I give it a go? No. I'm gonna do it anyway. Decided against it. Still carrying some Christmas weight, and I don't think that would take me, so better not.
This is H2O, you know where they like to slide down.
Go on then, go get your mermaid tail. No, Cleo! No! This was supposed to be a good morning, but instead it's a good afternoon, good evening, because we haven't picked you up all day, because we've decided to make our way further down the coast and take this as a bit of a drive-in day, really. Don't ask us where we've landed, because we've absolutely no idea where we are, but we're surrounded by these moon-like rocks, which are very reminiscent of our time in Portugal. So before we wrap this video up for this week, let's get the drone out for one final time to show you these stunning views. And there you go, there were some shots of this little hidden gem here on the coast of Spain, which is making us miss Portugal, eh?
Oh, definitely. And the sun.
And the sun, yeah. For the last couple of days here in the south of Spain, it hasn't been amazing weather. I guess that's what you get for travelling in off-season. But the beauty of that is everywhere's much quieter than it is obviously in the summer months. And I think that is a great place to end this episode of our European adventure through Spain.
If you're new here, please consider hitting that subscribe button.
And if you liked the video, drop it a like. If you've got any suggestions about where we should visit next as we journey through the south of Spain, then drop them down below. We've still got about 2.5 weeks left in Spain, so stay tuned for the couple of videos that are left in our Spanish section of this trip.
But until then, we'll catch you next time.